everybody, welcome to another episode of Conquer Stage Fright. I'm live on location in Boston. I am teaching at the Mark O'Connor Berklee College of Music Summer Strings program. All day long, people have the chance to study with one of the best and most eclectic string faculties in the world. And each night there are inspiring and amazing concerts and jam sessions that sometimes go into the wee hours of the morning or even until sunrise. One of the concerts I always look forward to is the set played by electric violinist Tracy Silverman, who gave us some great advice about conquering stage fright in the last episode. Let's get back to the interview.
Here's another thing I do. I focus on ideal audience members, because I've noticed that when I tend to freak out, it's because I'm thinking about somebody who I really am afraid is judging me. Okay? Like if there's a great player, a really good player in the room, listening, who I respect a lot, that makes me very nervous. Because I know they know everything I'm doing, and are going, part of their brain is probably going, yeah, I can do that better, or something. It just freaks you out if you've got an expert in your field watching you do your thing. So,
and that's especially high pressure here, when there's maybe 24 of the world's top exponents of so many different styles, and it doesn't matter how good we are at what we do and where we're from, there's someone who has mastery in an area that's totally unfamiliar.
This is my worst nightmare of places to perform. It's really, it's one of the hardest places for me to perform. So what I do is often think about the person that's there who I feel will be the least judgmental, the most unconditional love kind of person, and there's usually one or two people like that who I can really feel are in my corner no matter what, and who want me to go take a chance and go for it, and aren't going to care if I miss something. And the funny thing is, I'm that way as an audience person. I want somebody to take a chance. I'm ready to excuse a little bumble or fumble or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's fine because you went for it. That's what I wanted to see. I don't want to see you, playing a perfect concert. That's not what I'm there for. I know that's the way audience members are. So I think about that, what I like. And then, I have some friends who are maybe not there, who I just think of them. These are my ideal audience people. So sometimes before I go on stage, I'll think, okay, I'm playing for this person tonight. And often in an audience, I'll look out there, and if I see somebody who's a real downer out there, and a lot of times I do the same thing. I'm sitting in an audience, and I don't realize I'm doing this, but I'm like, sort of have this blasé kind of look, and it's just that's the way I look, and that's the way a lot of people look.
I think I may have actually seen that once or twice.
And it doesn't mean I'm not enjoying myself. It's just the way I look, And so I will try not to look at those people, and I'll look at the person who's just like, totally into it, and focus on those people because they give you energy. And the whole live performance idea of performing in front of an audience, it's a back and forth. There's a huge dynamic. Audiences don't realize that. And sometimes one of the things I've done to conquer this fear is I will sometimes tell an audience right at the beginning. I started doing this. I thought I'd try this out. I started telling people, because there's a lot of, especially if it's sort of a lay audience, non-professional, these aren't like, here everybody plays. Right. I don't have to say this here. Right. But sometimes I'll tell people like, playing the violin is pretty hard. A lot of the things that I'm doing, I got these pedals, but, and there's 6 strings, and, it may sound like a guitar, but it's actually a lot harder to do. But tonight, I'm just going to go for it. I'm not going to worry about missing a note or two. I'm going to go for it. So I kind of lay it out on the table. And you know what? I did this a couple months ago, and people started cheering. And people came up to me after the concert. I just said it that once, but everybody remembered it. And everybody, man, I'm so glad you went for it.
And that's that's some of the audience interaction stuff that I talk about, because it's like that. if you can find a way to break down that fourth wall and get everybody in the same camp listening the way you want them to, then you get rid of all the other uncomfortable stuff.
It made me more comfortable.
Yeah.
And that was mostly what I was interested in.
And it made them more comfortable too, because it's like
so.
they know that you're inviting them along on a journey that you may not know exactly where it's going.
Exactly, and it's more exciting.
Exactly.
In a way, because I said, look, every once in a while I step on the wrong pedal with the loop and everything stops. And it's, if it happens, hey, we're just going to pick up and do it again. And it takes the fear out for me, that I don't feel like I have to play this perfect Olympic, 10 performance. I'm not going for, I don't care about that. I'm going for something better. I'm removing myself from the reptilian brain and trying to rise to a more transcendent place. And, Terry Riley, who's an amazing contemporary composer, he said, if you're not making mistakes, you're probably not really improvising, when we're, a lot of what we do is improvise, because if you improvise, mistakes are part of what you do, and you turn them into positives if you can.
Exactly.
But you can't expect yourself to not make mistakes if you're in this creative mode. I read this brain thing study recently that I thought was fascinating, and they had musicians play given specific things that they had to do, and they were monitoring the brain, and then they had them improvising. And of course, it's sort of the left brain, right brain thing. But what they discovered is that when you get into a place where you have to create something, you have to be creative, not only were you using the right side of the brain, but you actually had to shut down the left side, the parts that were inhibiting creativity.
Huh.
Because in order to play something right, there's a part of your brain that is functioning, and it keeps you from being creative. It actually keeps you from being creative. And if you want to explore this creative part, you actually have to quiet this part down. And they found that improvising musicians, jazz musicians, were able to very effectively shut off the judgmental part of their brain that said, that's not correct, that's not right, you're doing that wrong, and go for it. Just dream and go for things. And the good improvisers are the ones who are used to doing that, and when they fumble, they just keep rolling along and don't break their flow. They don't go, I made a mistake, and tighten up. They go, I made a mistake, and I'm going to roll with it, and I'm going to turn it into a good note. And, that relaxes me to remember that.
Hey everybody, I've got some exciting breaking news for you. This is Tracy's brand new CD, Between the Kiss and the Chaos, which is the title of his second electric violin concerto, which here he's playing with the awesome Calder Quartet. There's also a number of other movements on this CD of Tracy doing some really amazing looping work with his electric violin. It's available officially February 25th, 2014, but you can pre-order it today at Amazon. I've got the link in the comments below. Let's get back to the interview. I want to refer back to a moment in last night's concert.
Okay.
So this was high-octane lineup, and you were closing it out. So you're following people like, okay, who all was playing?
Billy Contreras, who is the heart. If Billy's in the room, man, it's really tough for me to play.
One of the most insanely talented jazz musicians, knows his fingerboard, and
somebody I wish I could do what
calculus
he
going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one
Billy
person.
Contreras, Mark O'Connor,
Alex. No pressure there.
Yeah. Alex Depew, who can, he never went to Juilliard and can play classical stuff better than most people who have, including me, and Daniel Bernard Romain. Simone Shaheen, Turkish amazing violinist. So, every one of them star power, amazing players.
And you're having to follow all of that.
All of them.
No pressure.
Yeah.
So, tell us your strategy. I want to get to a specific moment, but in that situation, where the bar is so high and everyone has been wowed for an hour and a half, how do you...
Well,
what was your take?
Okay, well,
because it was brilliant.
And I'll tell you what, I thought about this quite a bit because I knew what the lineup was going to be. I didn't know Billy was going to be on it because they mistakenly left him off the billing, and when I found out he was going to be there, that didn't help my nerves any.
Sure.
And he was sitting right backstage watching everything I was playing. So, I knew what he was going to do, and he did exactly what I thought he was going to do, which was just blew my mind. And
with some bebop and just.
And he does what
yeah.
he does. I don't want to go into the details, but
I'll see if I can link a video for you. You need to hear this guy.
All you have to know is that I was sitting in the audience taping it on my iPhone because and I've done this several times with Billy. I then take it home and try to learn it. Okay, confession, because he's like a hero of mine. Okay, so anyway, so I knew what he was going to do. I knew what Alex was going to do. I knew what Mark was going to do. They were all going to play super fast, incredibly amazing, virtuosic stuff. And they did. So I said, the big danger for me is to try to play somebody else's game. Because I can play pretty fast, but I can't do, I can do some of that stuff, but I didn't want to get into a cutting contest with these guys. And because I thought there was a good chance I might not win, first of all, probably primarily that. And second of all, I really thought to myself for the last week when I've been thinking about what am I going to play, I thought, well, I don't want to play their game. I want to play my game. And what is my game? And that makes you really start to think very deeply about how I want to perform, how do I want to be seen by this audience. And my game, what I'm really good at is expressing soulfulness and emotion in my playing. And I feel like, man, there's a lot of people who play a lot of notes and can improvise and think of chords on the spot faster than I can. My brain just doesn't work that way. But for me, sometimes as much as I'm in awe of these things and wish I could do them, to me there's something about that maybe, I don't want to say is missing, I don't want to be negative, but I feel like I bring a different thing to the table. And it's kind of always been sort of the difference between Miles Davis and Charlie Parker.
Yeah.
Parker can just blow your head off with these incredible lines, and Miles can play one note that will just blow your head off in a different way. So I've always been the Miles guy. And so I said,
That's not a bad thing to be.
It's not a bad thing to be.
I'd settle for being Miles any day.
And I kind of, and this has been, the story of my life, of my career for many years. I've always decided that rather than being the guy that people are going to admire and respect, let's say, and be in awe of, I didn't really want to be that guy. I wanted to be the guy that moved somebody, that people came up to and said, "You made me cry." And I actually had 2 students came up to me today and said that to me. And that's what I'm going for. I just want to move people in a visceral way, where they don't have to go, "Wow," from here. They're just going from their gut. And so that's my strong point. So I opened with a piece of mind that allows me, not all my pieces have that in it. Some are lighter, some are faster, some are more virtuosic. But I have things that I know will get me to that place. And I wanted to start this show that I was nervous about with something that I knew would take me right to that place that I knew I could do really well with my strongest card. Because everybody else started with their strongest card.
That's right, yeah.
So that's what I did.
And I want to talk about one moment, which was right at the end. Tracy did something also that I thought was brilliant and collegial, which was to bring people out to join in. What was the penultimate tune that you brought everybody out?
This was a tune of mine.
Yes.
We started with a tune of mine called Sidewalk Vigil.
Yes.
And Daryl Anger, you're right, Daryl wasn't on this program, but he came out just for this tune. And Daryl's an old, very close friend of mine, and who I have enormous respect for. And Daniel Bernard Remain, DBR, and we decided that we were going to do something together. And then it turned out, we didn't know where in the program this was going to be, but Mark decided that
He was going to join in.
that we were going to be this was going to be the last thing. So we thought, okay, this will be good. We'll get the 2 of us, the 2 of them on stage, and we'll close out with the 3 of us. And as we were doing that, I'm looking backstage, right off to the wing there, and there's Mark O'Connor and Alex DePew and Billy Contreras sitting out there watching us play. And so after Daryl and Daniel were jamming for a while on this, I look back there, and I'm kind of going, yeah, come on out. And Alex is going, all right. So he grabs a fiddle,
Yeah.
he jumps out, he had his shoes off, he was in his socks, you know. And he comes out playing, he's great spirit, great-hearted guy. And he's jumping in, he jumps on the mic, and he's having fun. And a minute later, I feel somebody walking behind me, and it's Mark O'Connor. And he's sneaking around the back with his fiddle, and I thought, that's so great, you know. So they started playing, jumping in on that tune. I kept trying to get Billy out, but he was like, no, man, I'm listening, you know. He was backstage, you know, he just, whatever, you know. And so we finished that tune, and it was sort of a mid-tempo tune. It was pretty repetitive, and I felt like, you know, I just had this instinctive feeling like maybe we played it a little too long many times, because you get a lot of people on stage,
not at all.
and it starts to get a lot of repetition, and I kind of felt like the energy was here, and it kind of went to sort of there, you know, and it was still good, but you know, it sort of crested. Right? So I was like, let's not leave it there. Let's do something upbeat. And I knew I have a good tune that does that, so I just went right into it.
Stevie Wonder, I Wish.
Right.
And it's like, they were about ready for final ballot, so it's Tracy in the moment, just like, wait guys, and just
I just went into
that.
it. I just went into it even before they stopped clapping. I was like, before everybody leaves, before we lose the moment, let's just boom, go into it. And so I just went into this funky rhythm.
Call.
And then somebody in the audience went, yeah.
That was me. I couldn't help it. It's just, I love your I Wish. I just love it.
And when that happens, it can ignite an audience. And you said that, and the whole audience just started, just burst into like, claps, and everybody was into it and started clapping along and totally got into this groove. Us on stage got electrified, and we just, you know, had a great time.
And believe me, that was involuntary. That was not a plan. Yeah, it's just I heard you do it. I'm like, yeah! You know, I just couldn't help it. You know, and I mean, the audience, we were all ready to this place.
Yeah,
you know,
and they wanted to go there, and we all kind of felt it, and we just sort of needed something to kick us up, and so you know, it needed to be something up tempo. So it was a lot of fun.
And then afterwards, there were tons. There was like a line of about 20 teenagers waiting to get backstage. Well, actually, immediately after you finished it, there was this young camper who was like, "That was the best concert I ever heard in my whole life," you know, and of course he's about 12 or 13, and you know, sure, he's probably been to a lot of concerts, but I was quoting that to some like 20-year-olds, and they're like, I think this is the best concert I've been to in my life. But I think a lot of it had to do with that give and take of being aware what's around, being inclusive, and also everybody finding their own niche and showing what they did best in a way that showcased themselves as well as respected everything else that was going on.
Yeah, well, you know, I think I'm one of the few people here that does get as freaked out about it. Everybody else, you know, is pretty chill, and which is great, and they're really not judgmental. You know, everybody's just kind of showing what they got, and everybody's just got a lot, you know. And Alex, you know, what a great spirit, funny. You know, and it's great when you know, you get him on stage, and after I'd sort of done my thing, and I felt like, okay, I had my moment, and now I was relaxed, and everybody was relaxed, and the audience got that. You know, they got the fact, which is a really cool thing about these Mark O'Connor camps. They got the fact that we are not, even though it seems like it could be a cutting contest, we're really not.
Right.
We're really not. We know we love each other. We have
so
huge
respectful. I mean,
we have such respect for each other that. But you all know that, you know, this guy does fiddling great. This guy does rock great. This guy does classical great. You know, we all have our strong points, and we sort of know as performers how to find our strong card and lead with it. And you know, that's an important thing to know for young players. To figure out what are they good at and what gives them confidence on stage, what makes them relax on stage, you know, because you only relax really when you're doing something you feel good about.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. Listen, man, this has been great. I've still got some more questions for you, but I'm going to postpone asking them to you till I think Olathe, Kansas.
Okay.
And we'll record another episode there. But this has just been great. Check out his channel. He has both a channel featuring his electric violin playing. He also has his daily dialogue,
Which
has
not been
it has
daily
not
for
been
a
daily,
long time.
but if you want to know what life on the road is with Tracy, or what it's like in his home studio, what his pedal board setup is, or even quick down and dirty tutorials like here's how you play this Coldplay song with the loops or things. There's some really interesting stuff to check out. Thank you so much.
David.
Really appreciate it,
Yeah.
and we'll see you again. This is not the last you've heard of Tracy on
Oh,
Conquer Stage Fright.
And by the way, one of the incredibly awesome and scary people who's playing up here, David Wallace.
Do I scare you?
You do.
Really?
Yes.
You know what? This is kind of weird, but I've had a number of people where I've showed up to their concerts and like, you made me so nervous, and that's the last thing I want to hear.
Well, you're also one of the people, like Daryl. I mean, Daryl, I have huge respect for you guys
Yeah.
both. I mean, you don't scare me. I'm in awe of what you can do. I'm in awe of what Daryl can do. But you guys are two of the people who I know I can think of up here and go, you're going to be in my corner no matter what.
That's absolutely
right.
right.
And you're just not, you're sort of an unconditional kind of, and
unconditional love.
That's it,
You
man.
got it. Thank you, everybody. See you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. For additional help and exclusive content on Conquering Stage Fright, subscribe to mytalentforge.com, where I've uploaded videos on everything from overcoming cold hands to developing your posture to reducing physical tension, and the best secrets I learned from my Juilliard professors, my professional colleagues, physical therapists, as well as just experience, as well as a lot of stories that I don't want to post to YouTube, but I'm happy to share with subscribers. So again, that's mytalentforge.com if you'd like additional help conquering your stage fright. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.